In September, China's second largest real estate developer, Evergrande, missed an $83.5 million debt payment. Investors and bears in China have long said that its property request, which makes up some 30% of GDP, is over-leveraged and truly much heated. The recent news has people asking, are the bears right? And could this be China's Lehman moment? In today's video, we'll compare the both incidents to measure the level of extremity. But before that, make sure you press that red subscribe button along with that tiny bell icon to get updated every time we post new videos. Let's get started. There's a lot of muttering in the antsy investing space these days, bemoaning that there's nothing to do right now. But is this the calm before the storm? Our economy has just absorbed the largest financial and monetary impulse in history in response to the COVID pandemic. The big question is, what comes next? There are questions over exactly how future misery will play out, but if the history is prologue, it will present itself soon enough. Major structural change combined with high situations of influence is generally a precursor to misery. Heading into the coming affliction cycle, we already have exorbitant debt. Perhaps the structural change that pushes us into a new dereliction cycle will simply be the role reversal of all that previous impulse. We've formerly seen signs of affliction in China as its massive real estate bubble bursts. It seems that the world's second largest economy is witnessing its own Lehman moment, unexpectedly suggestive of what the US endured leading up to the great financial crisis. The real estate bubble was fueled by excess influence and enterprise, propped up by governmental support of original housing demands. In numerous ways, the situation in China is needing more precarious than was the case in the US, because so important of its economy is tied to housing and construction. The big question for US investors is how spillover from China's struggles may systematically impact the US economy. As the jam of container ships awaiting a discharge at US harbors sorrowfully demonstrates, the supply chain is global and events in one country can dramatically affect another. The breaking of China's real estate bubble could presumably be the provocation for the onset of the coming dereliction cycle in the US as well. The major difference between the collapse of Lehman Brothers and the Evergrande extremity is that when the US government was required to act, it had to pass legislation in order to have the authority to intermediate, but the Chinese government does not have this problem. By controlling the country's property market through state-possessed banks, Beijing also knows which formulators are likely to fail, a thing that could not have been said about Washington during the subprime mortgage extremity. At the same time, China is being far pickier with its conduct than the US was during the global financial crisis. Unlike Washington, which bailed out some of the world's biggest banks, China's Communist Party is taking a more incremental approach. Beijing is like a surgeon operating on a tumor who is thinking, what do I need to save? Said Alicia Garcia Herrero, chief economist for Asia Pacific at investment bank Natixis. Experts forecast that Evergrande's restructuring could take months, if not years, with little in the way of headline bulletins as authorities try to avoid the kind of shocks that hit the global fiscal system after Lehman Brothers collapsed. When Evergrande defaults, the ruin is sure to be indeed messier than Lehman Brothers, and the implications for the world economy could be massive. So that's all for today's video. Let us know your views in the comment section below, and don't forget to like this video before leaving. Thanks for watching.